last year and this year. That the flagpole has been completed on the ball field in memory of Pat O'Mealy. And we just, again, want to send our warmest thank yous to the family for coordinating the funds for the wonderful project. The flag will be flown during ball games, so we are going to take it down, put it up. It's just to save the flag and to keep it nice for those games. And then at the foot of the flagpole is the memorial plaque for Pat O'Mealy that says Coach, Mentor, Patriot. So I want to mention that, so I threw a little picture in there for you so you can see what that looks like, since we already took the flag back down, and then we'll have that up for ball games.
Any questions? Ms. Kingsley? Not, you notice I skipped the technology update. Dave's not feeling well, so he was going to.
You're not
be
gonna
here.
step in for him?
Not for that one.
Josh is on vacation. They do have a lot of great projects going on this summer, I know. He can give me an update, I can share something a little more.
Yeah, James, just so you know, you're talking about technology and keeping up with that. We have went from one end of our school campus to the other and updating technology with all of our switches, our routers, all of the main stuff, everything. A lot of stuff has been switched, almost everything.
Oh, my God.
And we are really out of the 1990s.
I know, yeah. Finally, it's,
Oh, man.
you know, and then,
Gone from way down here to putting our
Now,
kids
now
up here where
we're
they can.
right
look
at
at
2023.
It's really something. Even all the way down to the interactive panels we got last year, you know, to get instructionally teachers' hands. Really been excited to see. I figured you might like that PLTW too.
Any questions at all? Okay. Move into our action items. Letter A, we have a couple of updates to look at. One, both are recommended, neither one of them were mandated.
No.
So you could, you have the recommendation.
I do. I feel like with all that's going on with AI, it would be wise for us to adopt this. Recommended that we do it. Mr. Dunn and I spoke about it today. It's really not going to change our practices. We already have consequences for plagiarism and things for cheating and so forth. However, I think just put some parameters and boundaries around what AI is and maybe get our, I don't know, a recognition that we know that it exists and that it is impacting us from instructional point of view, school point of view, student point of view. And so it just kind of gets that together. It also mentions in there that we would do training for that. And that really just means a recognition and understanding at this point. But it is, you know, they came out with this last year, but I don't think that we were there yet. We weren't really talking about it as much. You've definitely talked about it more at the high school now. But I think just in the last couple of months, it's become something that we're using all the time. I use it all the time myself, just in trying to find something or think about home improvement or whatever. It's just so easy to drop something in there. As a matter of fact, when Tabitha and I were talking about wellness, I dropped it in Chat GPT and said, what kind of a budget? If I could give this kind of a budget, what could she create with that? And came up with all these things. We shared that. She was like, I thought about a couple, but I didn't think about these other ones. It's just so beneficial. And I know that as people start to use it, they're going to get hooked and it's going to become the way they think. So I feel like we should probably get ahead of that and go ahead and adopt the policy. Again, our practice won't change, but at least we put in there that says we're ahead of the game. We know it's there. We have some expectations for you in using it, you know, that you don't.
Well, I
use it
think
in
we have to be
place of-
careful on AI with, you know, I've heard from some other districts been pretty clear cut that some projects had been completed with AI.
Absolutely.
And that's really not what we want. We want our
No.
kids to use their, in between their ears.
Well-
And I'm saying you can use something maybe to help something, but when it was word for word verbatim of an AI deal,
It's not supposed to be somebody else's brain turning in your assignment.
That's clear, we've already done some training with staff. And what we've got to do, start next year, we turn it on for the staff so they can start playing around with it, getting familiar with it. We're going to have to turn it on for our kids. At some point, we just got to go. But that's going to be part of the training with the kids and the staff on pre-AI. One of the complaints was, man, I give the kids this worksheet and they're finding all their answers on Google. And the response could be, well, we need to change the questions we're asking. If they can find the answers on Google, maybe we need to change our questions, get them to think a little bit deeper. And so in some aspects, AI is causing us to do that too, change the types of questions we're asking. And when we had that training with the staff, we did talk about ways to increase critical thinking in the classroom with the aid of AI. The kids and staff are going to have to learn how to use it responsibly and ethically. There are ways to determine if kids are cheating, and we talked about some of those ways in our training with our staff too. So we've done some of that. That's going to have to be ongoing. But at some point, our staff's going to become familiar with it. So
well, I think just getting some policies in place, and that gives us, a stance.
Yeah.
And also hopefully it will allow our admin to back up our teachers. If the teachers are concerned about something that went on, we have something to stand on. I know a few teachers that here, way out of this district, that were not too happy with some of they knew there was some assignments that were just word for word AI. They tried to address it. Just got told you just gotta let it go. Well, those kids are not learning to use their minds.
Well, this policy and the regulation really lays out some things that I think
Yeah.
our teachers could use to teach that in their classroom. The way that they looked at, from no AI to
I
full
mean,
AI.
there's some great things with AI. There's
Some
no
boundaries,
question.
some
Oh,
understanding.
yeah,
Well-
and it's,
And it's coming.
yes.
But-
I think, so I just came back from a weekend with my doctoral program at Evangel, and there was a student, I guess, last semester, that basically was putting in quotes and things in her dissertation that was generated by AI and was not true,
Interesting.
because it just generates information,
Doesn't validate
but
it.
it doesn't validate it. And so this my professor said, I knew it was not true because, they run it through a system. But she said, I knew it wasn't true because I had that exact textbook on my desk and I had read it. And so she pulled it out and realized. So now that's at that doctoral level that this is happening as well. So.
So I think it's wise maybe to put something in place.
Yeah.
Some language out there, some
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah, we have to have a standard, whatever that should be.
The other
Now, the other
policy-
one, you want to talk about the other one too? Okay.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, the other one, I don't see any reason for us to adopt it. I just don't, I like to be transparent with you with the things that he brought out with, had to do with signage. I don't see us having a problem. I don't see anything going on.
I was gonna ask what I guess it just the
Some
people,
district
somebody
must
was
have an
putting
issue.
a yard sign out here in the front yard,
Something. in
which
some
Carl would
district.
go right out there and take
Take it out for the trash.
the trash can. So we
So
wouldn't have
I
to
don't
worry
see
about
it as
that.
a problem. I don't see any reason. I just wanted you to know that put that out there, that was something that they just made optional.
Yes.
I don't see a need for it. So the only one I really felt would be relevant to us would be the policy on AI and regulation. Then these other two, one of them, we had already adopted when it came out, we had to do a pay rate and so forth. And the other one, we did not adopt at that time because there was still a question on what it's gonna look like. So now they're saying, if you did adopt it, reverse it, we have it, so we don't need to do anything. So we're good on the other, it's just for the
So we
one
made
that's
the,
wrong.
made the right decision at some point. huh?
We waited on it.
Yeah, we just
They
set it
weren't
out.
done, they weren't done
No.
changing it.
It was gonna change and we set it out.
We just need to vote.
on
So
the-
we need
on
a
the
motion
regulation
to
policy.
adopt policy 6325 and the regulation that goes along.
Make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Shears, second by Mrs. Wells. To Adopt policy 6325 and the regulation 6320. Any further discussion? And then we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Okay. Good. So, motion carries 5, 1 abstention, correct? Okay. James going to vote.
Tracy, what, this, the 4560, is that something?
Where we at?
The second page of your consultant, where the policies are, we talked about the advertisement, don't worry about that. One in between.
Yes, we already passed that earlier because we needed to for the pace.
Check
Yep.
mark, okay.
I had pulled it out. With the other ones, I wasn't ready to present because
Gotcha.
it just wasn't relevant to us yet, but that one we had to get.
Gotcha,
This was the sweep of, do we want to look at this?
gotcha.
Thank you for that. I just,
Okay, we'll move on to letter B. This is for our AMI application. Application we turned in last year. Last year, they didn't need board approval. That's one of the boxes to check. This year, one of the boxes is board approval. It's the same exact application that we turned in last year. We just need to approve it as a board.
we don't, I want to clarify, we're not planning on using AMI. It's not a great way of teaching kids. However, should we run into a problem, we need it, we want to have submitted
We
the
have
application so that we can have permission. to
Something in
use it.
place.
Last year.
If we don't submit it, then we don't get to use
For
it.
for emergency,
That's
dire
all.
emergency
Well, as we've
situation.
seen in the
Raise the
past,
ground.
you never know when your school's gonna close next week, or
No.
next 3 months.
Exactly.
So that's what it is.
Motion.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Thompson, second, Mr. Shear. Further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 6-0. Letter C. We normally at the end of the year, when we get to into June, we take our actual numbers that are budget, that are actual, we adopt those and change those to real numbers. Change the projections to what the real ones actually are. So need a motion to amend our budget to actual number. Motion, Mr. Thompson, second, Ms. Wells. Any further discussion on that? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 6-0. Also, during that same time, we usually zero out Fund 2, which is teacher fund. So we take whatever may or may not be left there, which won't be a lot, and we transfer back into general. So we need a motion to zero out.
Make a motion to zero out.
I'll second.
Motion, Mrs. Wells, second, Mr. Shear. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 6-0. In the past, for this transfer of monies, we were never able to transfer the maximum. We had to be careful how much money there. At this particular point, we have that 7% that we can transfer over from general to our capital project fund. And that allows us to keep our money just with the idea, just for our projects. And that's what we wanted that money to go toward for the most part. Anyway, when we had that SRD, was to use that for projects. This guarantees that it's used for a project. So the recommendation is to approve the maximum, which is 173,000 something. Somebody tell me the other three numbers.
$584.
$584 from title or from our general fund to capital projects fund, which is fund.
I think that's a good idea.
Well, this, like we were talking about, this gives us a better representation of our true numbers.
It does.
Yeah.
Now, this will lower what we have in reserves. Keep that in mind. Reserves is based on 1 and 2, funds 1 and 2. When we move this out of fund 1 into fund 4, reserves will go down a little bit. It'll look like it went down some.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yes.
Just know that it hasn't
It's
been
there.
lost.
It's there.
Sitting over here in a different fund.
It's not in Doug's trunk.
Well, this is something we should be doing each year,
We did.
Yes.
up to a certain amount, and we've been lacking that a little bit, but we haven't had that extra.
Right.
to do that with these.
Motion, Mr. Thompson, to move $173,000, $504 from Fund 1 to Fund 4. For a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Birdsong. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, say, or raise your hand. Motion carries 6-0.
Make sure you call Matt, tell him, so that way when he's looking over the financials. Where'd that money go?
He should be here.
Exactly.
Okay,
Gonna be sipping.
letter D, letter D.
I have to maybe move my beach trips around.
We,
See, I like the way you.
it's our 5-year term for bid bank services. So I'm sure you're here for,
Pursuing carports from Citizens Bank. I was just coming, if anybody had any questions about this, I'm going to be here to answer.
thanks for coming. Thanks for being, I talked to you on the phone the other day.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we had 3 bids come in for bank bids. You have them in your packets. Any questions on any of those? And if you have questions for specifics on Citizens Bank, Midwest, which I still struggle with saying, to me, it will always be Citizens Bank Newburg. Sorry, can't help it.
I
Just,
understand.
and I know you're at the Raleigh branch, but shame on you. But anyway.
Ask her, he's got plenty.
It's all right. It's all right, but I was kidding with you. Any questions on bank bids and statements of where you want to go with that?
Is there I tried to look through this, I didn't see there was one difference from another.
Doesn't look.
A couple of things that show up different. Mainly if you look at the interest rate of what we're having on our money sitting in the bank,
Right?
a little bit of difference on all 3 of them. If I'm correct,
I guess
Citizens
I
Bank is
missed the whole.
like in the middle of that. One a little better than what Citizens Bank had put in. But that also depends on the rate goes to. So it can be, it's all in that little wording. Citizens Bank gives us that guarantee of 3%. It's not above 3%, but not below 0.5%. This gives us that guarantee at the bottom. Not that we're going to get there this year, but in the next 5 years you might.
Yeah.
You know, one time we weren't making the kind of interest rate that we are. So at least in this contract, puts our bottom where there's actual some money being earned. And then you can see the listing of all the things that they provide. Almost everyone did the same for that, because those are daily, monthly, yearly activities that the school is using that is provided in their bid of, not a bid, what their services are going to provide us for keeping our money.
I will say I looked into the safety deposit box, right?
Okay,
And that is something that you all have been paying in the past, but going forward, we're going to waive that. So part of this bid, that'll be included in that.
okay, so we just paid this. Can we get that back?
Well,
Depending on the vote.
Nice.
I think we just paid it
We did.
a month ago.
It's new right now.
Anyway,
You can always tell a Smith.
I'm telling you.
I'll make a motion that we award the bid.
You have to think about that.
It's hard to say.
I just
It's
like
hard
looking
to go
up.
there. 'Cause we didn't have to. Motion, is there a second? Second, Mrs. Wells. Motion to accept the bid or to go for the next 3 years. What's the possibility of adding 2 more years to that with a verbal discussion, so we could go 5?
yeah, that'd be amazing.
Okay, till we have to do bids out again. So, but as of right now, that'd be a 2-year term. At the end of that 3 years, everybody's satisfied and moving forward. We could continue for 2.
Absolutely.
That could be 1 at a time. But
Yep.
that's how that, every year that would go. Then after, when we get to 5 again, we bid. Any further discussion? Have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 6-0. Good.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
$108. Step back in there.
We'll be in
I'm
talks
kidding.
about that.
I'm kidding.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Letter E, we move on to discussion of facility plans. In your packet is a listing of, several years ago, we kind of started big picture, small picture, long-term, short-term type activity or some projects that we saw. You can see we have completed several of those as we made that list. And there are a few that still hang out there.
We have a
There's
field
always going to
house.
be a few that hang out there, but there's not very many.
We have a field house?
I don't know what to call
Yeah,
Isn't
that's
that
where
that
the
shed
concession
up
stand
there?
is.
it.
Oh, the old
The,
concession stand.
Well, the upper area is the field house.
Oh. I forgot there's stairs at work now and you can actually access. Did someone go clean all the ladybugs out?
Probably a billion of them.
You want to go through some of that?
I certainly can. Some of the goals, some of the goals that we had there for last year, you can kind of see what's been completed. Goals for this year, we've got the lighting in the bus barn. I know that's something that they was lights set up there when I got here, and so trying to get the bus barn cleaned out enough that we could get to them and get them hung. And so things like that, the tuck point, we're finishing the gym floor. We did discover that the gym floor is newer than we thought it was.
Really?
Yes. And so there's been a lot of discussion
I
about that.
thought for some reason it was replaced.
Yep, and so did
Some of
Mrs.
it-
Guffey, who had memory of that.
Some of it was replaced, I think, in
He's got a date written down now. They've got it a little bit more hammered out because they thought it was a little bit older, some info that he got, and it was not.
it seems like we spent a bunch of
That's gonna be way down the line now, instead of a project we have to look at sooner. Yeah. Want to continue to do those bus barn cleanouts, at least a half day every year. I'd really like to do that. But, we still have this hanging out there right now, the concrete project, trying to get that solidified with that RFP, get the bids that really apply directly exactly to what we're looking for. So that one's still hanging out there, so that's still on the list, but you can kind of look through, there are lots of upgrades with our technologies you kind of went through earlier, and security for sure. And so some of the issues looking forward are the roofing issues. We have significant roofing issues from the project in the past that we're currently addressing and hope to correct very soon. And just some random things, playground type issues. One of the things we want to do very soon is move the cameras that are outside. And we have cameras that are inside and they're on two different servers. We want to bring them all into one server so that when we need to look at things, we can see them. So I've got some money budgeted for that, looking to do that this next year. So there's just a more concise, easier to monitor situation. Revamping the sidewalk. Sidewalk, the website. I cannot talk tonight. I really cannot talk.
Sidewalk website, pretty close.
Same thing,
They
right?
both need revamped.
They could try both, you see.
They can just roll with it.
TL.
So revamping our website, something Josh and I have been working on it quite a bit, and he's done a lot of work on that, but we really need to update it. We need to go with a new
We're talking about
website,
that guy now.
and I have some money budgeted on that as well that would add, it's called Parent Square, but I want to wait for Josh to get here and talk a little bit more about it because he's really studied this extensively.
Leaves it in wrong.
Parent Square, Apogee, and some other really great programs and what they could bring to us. Parent Square could bring the app, so our parents can get on the app and see things. It'll redo our website. They can take everything, throw it into a new pile, put it back out there in a much more updated version. Just really offer some communication, which I feel like is still lacking quite a bit. Something I would like to see us improve. And I think we're trying to use Dojo down here. We're trying to figure out what we're using. This brings us all into one app with Parent Square if we go that direction. And so then all of our coaches and our admin and our teachers and everybody can communicate with that. Our nurse who struggles to find the right place to communicate. So sorry, I talked a little bit more about that, but that's kind of something that was on the goal for next year.
And I think that's also something we continue to do, that we talk about, how do we grow the district? And
I
that
agree.
is-
It's our
that-
image.
That it's your image, and
Yes,
having 14 different things. I mean, and this is not even related to that, but like coaching, we got some sports we're using
all
I
different
want to
things.
maker, some sports we're using another app, some sports we're
What are that
using.
coach using
a
a part of
different
district that
app.
they like, they'd use.
And it really needs to be all
And into our district.
District-wide.
district eyes,
Yes.
district emails, district
Yes,
security, you know what I
yes.
mean?
Is that something Dave, Josh?
That's my plan. We had so much on this list and then it was gonna be out, that it's on my list for next month
Yeah, that-
already.
Josh is out.
And Dave, I thought, and Dave
Would have
wasn't as
been here.
familiar. Dave wasn't familiar with that application. So that's kind of on that's already on the agenda.
Make sure that everything we have match up.
Oh, sure, yeah, right.
So is there
He's gonna know.
particular projects we need to vote on tonight, or are we just
No,
discussing?
really, for CSIP,
Kinda,
we need to have this facility plan reviewed periodically. And so I wanted to put it out there. And then there might be big things that I just,
And anything that we
Neglected to
do, we'll actually vote if we have to on that particular one. But this is just a thought process of wants and accomplishments we'd like to see. And
get some things on the radar.
Maybe.
yes, and
put
some of
some
these
other
will,
hopes.
some of these will transfer from this year to next year because we won't have them done.
Yeah.
Because this is a living document.
Yes.
Things will.
It's a
So,
living document.
looking at programming and attracting, have we looked at, because there are grants with the state, through the early childhood education of providing like 6 weeks to age
Oh,
5
littles,
littles, because I know a lot of school districts are starting to offer that, because then you can have like, college and career students. You can
Yeah.
have people that come in, that are helping, but then you can also bring in teachers. But I mean, there's thousands of dollars, because one, we don't have in the early childhood, besides our classroom.
for the 3 and 4-year-olds, yeah.
Correct. We don't have any daycare facilities that are licensed. Missouri right now, there's a huge hole in the middle of the state, and we're included in that, where there's just not any licensed facilities at all. But if you look at providing that for the community and look at grants, that is one more reason. One, we're always going to attract younger teachers, families, so if teachers' kids can be in that free program. There are subsidies, for low income. We definitely qualify under low income. I mean, that to me just seems like that would be programming that you start with your youngest, your 6 weeks old, all the way up to preschool, and having a facility. And because we're not a huge community, I think we could easily provide that. I mean, obviously we'd have to have grants, but I mean, if we can start an ag program, we can start something like that on the little side.
You have things that you have your hands on?
Well, I
Feel
had
free
to
to
write
share
a
with
big
me.
paper on this recently, and I had to write a letter to it was a project for my
Sure.
doctorate program. And so that was one of the things, because we had to look at MSIP 6, and when you look in that, there's specific things, but I was kind of shocked at how little is required for early childhood.
Right.
I mean, it's provide, basically provide parents as teachers.
Parents as teachers, yeah.
And then the other thing is to let parents know and let the community know how important early childhood opportunities are. But then the other part of it was, I think I think it was C on there, was like basically just informing parents of like high quality programming. Well, besides our 3 and 4-year-old classroom, there is no high quality programming. So I feel like that could be, there's money there, and other schools that I know that are our size that have looked into that. And I think if we could qualify for a grant and provide services, I think one, you're going to attract families that are going, oh my gosh, they have this great program down there, when, and it takes infants, and you're going to get teachers. And we tend to get a lot of first-year teachers, and I mean, that's just where we're at.
Yeah.
And so if you get those first-year teachers that are young, they're having babies. And to know, oh my gosh, I have a 4-day-a-week school, and they provide childcare for my child,
You're right.
I mean, that's a win.
Quite a benefit.
Plus, it's going to build the community up. It's going to be what's best for kids and get kids ready for kindergarten. Sorry, I'm going on my
Childcare is
soapbox.
ours.
Huge.
Huh?
Childcare.
Oh, it's ridiculously high.
Unbelievable.
And there's not enough. I cannot tell you how many
$200 a
people
week.
are looking for care, and there's
How
nothing.
much?
Yeah.
Marion
$200 a week.
County has 0
That is a
licensed
problem.
facilities.
in many communities. It is a big, big
Yeah.
issue.
For little-
Thanks for mentioning that. I'll add that in there.
I'm just saying,
I'm gonna
I
put
would
it-
love to see that,
Yeah,
something that we could do,
It's
and then
huge.
we could have
People can't-
Students
They can't work.
that could be part of the early childhood
absolutely.
careers program, like at RTI. We have
Yes.
those kids that come in and they're with us 3 afternoons a week or 3 mornings a week, and it's a 2-year program.
That's awesome.
And they work in our classroom. So, and that's how we get a lot of our paras,
Yeah.
because the moment they graduate from high school, boom. Well, I think at Wyman this year we hired 5 that came out of that program. Plus they took the para, whatever,
Test.
whatever they
Little
have
short
now.
class.
There's a new,
And a new class.
system
Yeah.
in place for those paras. And so I just think it's a good way to recruit as well,
Yeah.
you know?
Sounds like a lot of good things to be looking at.
Yeah.
I like it. I want to also, I made a note here and I'll drop it into some of our future
Yeah.
goals.
Just
And then anything that you have that you want to send my way, if you
I'll
have
ship
resources,
it your way.
do that and I'll keep sharing it with Mrs. Wright and keep talking, still at least get a conversation
Yeah.
started.
Well, I'm like, isn't that what our program that is partnering, isn't it the Phelps? Isn't it called the Phelps something? That we're getting all the, we're getting money to be able to open our early childhood program in Rolla. Well, we're part of Phelps.
Yes.
Like,
Okay.
and we have,
Community partnership.
yeah, so
Oh.
I'm like, why could we not ask them to be a partner with us? Especially because we don't have.
I'm almost positive Plato has a program. They may not go all the way down to birth, but I know they go down to 1 or 2 years of age.
Yeah,
You know, I want to say Crocker just started something. I think she's
Crocker-
been talking about that in our meetings.
yeah, Crocker has, and they wrote some grants.
Yeah, I think,
That, I mean, they got all kinds
Yeah,
of
I think
stuff.
she's
Like, it
mentioned a
was
couple times.
$300,000 or something
Okay.
that the principal wrote grants for, because I called my friend who
Was
teaches there, and I was like,
two
Heather,
fingers
you
not
hook
working?
me up, like,
Yeah.
I'm
Finger.
ready. Sure.
I do want to mention 2 more projects that are on there because my plan is to bring them next month. Mr. Simile and Mr. Dunn and I have talked quite a bit about the pads up on the wall and on the stage in the big gym and then the little gym. That's really ancient. And so we've got some quotes on that.
Typically,
well-
you get your
Pretty sure
bank
they're the same
to
pads
help
that we-
pay for some of that. but-
Well, I think Mr. Simile may have shared it with somebody.
But that bank
that
that
is
we
connected
just
to banks.
We're looking.
Yeah, I think they're dealing.
Okay, 'cause that one there ain't gonna give you
Any
So,
protection.
and the other
2
one,
wooden nickels.
There's,
Those
there's,
athletic-
there's another bank whose name's on the one that's up there.
Yeah,
yeah. So that being maybe a future soon project, again, I
It needs to be
have
done
put some money in the
anyways.
budget for that as well.
they're outdated.
And then our curtains, somebody
I
mentioned
I
to
seen that
me
in the.
about at graduation, about that curtain about to fall apart. Well, one of our staff members has been talking to me about that, really in the theater, and has connections with these companies. And so she's had them come in, and we've got Mrs. Hildebrand, and she's got some quotes coming to us. Now, that's $1. Not
Oh,
gonna beat around the
man.
bush.
Yeah, I'll bet that
But
ain't
down
cheap.
here in the little gym, the dream of maybe having a performing arts. Do we have kids who are interested in more theater? This includes putting the rigging up, putting the curtains up. They come in and do the whole thing and then replacing ours up here. This might be the time to do something like that. And then you walk into that facility and you're just like, beautiful floor, beautiful this, good curtains, good padding. It really is something that I know our community likes,
It-
admires, and it's something they see on a regular basis. So those are in there. I put as goals in this next school year and something that I wanted to kind of put out to you guys.
Something you could put on here and it didn't have to be anytime soon.
Sure.
Maybe some, ball field, fence or something going over on the plane.
Yes, Emily, we've discussed kind of.
We have
something
discussed
on
that quite a bit.
Save some baseballs. and
Oh my
softballs.
gosh, well, $5 a piece for baseball
Yeah,
and
say they
softball.
just keep going up and
I'm trying to remember if we already put some money in for that. Do you have a name for that? I can't come up with
Netting.
anything. What?
I mean, you could do
Just
netting.
netting?
There's a lot of people go into fence because it doesn't work out like the netting does.
But
Yeah.
generally, it's all built into the backs.
Yeah.
Tracy's what it's called. That's your backside.
We were just trying to find a temporary solution.
Well, I looked a couple years ago, and you did, and we wanted to you can buy the netting on Amazon. Problem is supposedly we don't own those poles up there, and Gas Passage doesn't want the netting hung on it. Was the answer that we got. They don't want the netting hung on the pole.
We should put a pole.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't
This
think
kind
that
of-
would say they do that.
The
I
pole.
don't know.
That's what-
Some of them.
Robert Ballard set those poles.
Newburg, City of Newburg said that.
But
See, that's, we never got a straight answer, and so we finally.
I know Robert Ballard
Tracy,
said
is
something
there other options for curtains besides,
You know,
like besides curtains?
Yeah.
in
You know,
early 2000s.
So
There are,
supposedly Gas Passage was here. and City
We
of
just
Newburg
hadn't
was here.
explored those. I've seen some of them.
No one's
and
seen
what some other
another
schools have
school
done,
pole,
but to
according
create a
to
more
Gas
theater
Passage,
look and
Newburg.
that
Yeah.
typical
Said,
stage
no, we don't
look,
want any netting.
the curtains are what people tend to use, but
hotel.
you could
Trouble
certainly
with
go with
that.
different
Done
options.
with
There are other things. It depends, I guess, on what.
Cause you can buy
It's just on the back.
I just didn't know.
You could-
I was
you
like,
could find the
I know
netting.
that there's some
Pretty dry.
schools that do different
There's
things.
some
long
like
span
that,
there,
but it
'cause I
also looks
looked
like
at it,
just
'cause I thought, well, I'm gonna let the truck
You know,
down.
it's not a fabric,
And I'm
it's
trying to figure out
a
how we
solid structure.
not get that,
Yeah, I've seen it
get
with
that sag,
fans,
because there's a
So, you know,
long
fans
span
back and
between.
forth,
So
that
I
way,
think-
like a, what do you call those?
Actually, I could probably
Coordinate
get.
Yeah, yeah,
wall.
I've seen that, and then when you have it open, it looks like there's a wall, and you can put, you know, your wolf up there, or some
We were
some
gonna
branding
set
of some
one
sort.
Yep.
Take up.
So I know there's some
Yep.
options.
School special.
But I could probably get some, I just have to put some on.
You just hire somebody to put them up. or you
I'm
think-
sure there's enough of us got enough equipment, access to stuff.
What was
We
it?
just added a member that probably could help on some of that too.
Really, I just want to put something
Get a little more involved. We just moved home plate and everything back. 10 foot.
Yeah.
Near the balls over the back either.
Because you're a true curtain company.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean,
Forward.
a lot,
That's why I was
Home
like,
plate,
it's
very expensive.
They
I just-
were
There's so much room.
So I have a meeting about this tomorrow, so that's.
I don't know.
maybe the
I don't
theatrical
know,
people
James,
will say,
At
hey,
least we don't have grass.
Yeah,
this other
They
one.
got a meeting, do it, fix it up, 'cause I built the last
Yeah.
one.
because we're a school and not a theater.
I
So
think-
maybe,
yeah.
That's huge.
awesome, awesome. Well, it'll be an ongoing thing, and as you all know. Review it.
All right, financial, not financial, but facilities plan. Just keep talking about it. We'll bring it up again next meeting. You guys come up with your, be thinking, write it down, and
Yep.
we'll go from there.
James and I, we'll get together, we'll walk it. We'll look at it.
You just wait till you see the list next time.
Yeah, that's really good.
Then you bring your
Turn
list
it
of
in.
donors.
Let's go.
And how many grants?
My list of donors' pockets are getting kind of empty.
We'll move on
Take
to,
one of your billboards instead of that. Just get one of your billboards.
Oh, yeah.
Can we
Black
make a
darts.
curtain out of that? Can we make a curtain out of that? Maybe-
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna close our curtains, it's gonna
I'm
say
sure
shaky
you
front.
can.
Who knows what it might say? It might say the greatest book.
be careful.
Maybe we do need to adopt that advertising signage.
Maybe we,
Can we go back a step?
We might have to back up a minute.
okay. Letter F, meal
That's where
prices.
we went real fast.
Yeah, we went there. Letter F, we are into approval for the 26 meal prices. We normally increase those by 10 cents because we're so far behind, still so far
Because we
behind.
couldn't increase it for so long.
So now here we are still behind and needing to increase. So if I understand correctly, we're wanting to go elementary lunch from 250 to 260.
Correct?
And then for middle school, high school lunch from 275 to 285. And then all breakfast is breakfast to go to 185 from 170. At the moment, our adult prices are set by OPA. That's what we would still recommend we do.
I'll make a motion that we adjust all by the 10 cent.
I'll second it.
So
Motion made.
we're paying OPA $3.96.
Yep.
And we're charging $2.85.
Because that's all we can do.
You got it.
Yep.
Now, we get some money back on that because we do get some federal funds from that free reduced lunch. That isn't, we get a little more than 3 something that we pay.
You do okay on CACFP, which is the end of the day meal. It serves our kids well.
Not all of it's a loss, but some of it's.
But there was a time frame when we could not adjust prices. even though they
Motion.
kept going up.
Motion, Mr. Birdsong, second, Mrs. Wells, to increase our our prices for meals by 10 cents across the board. Leave our adult prices as they are set by OPA. Any further discussion? If not, seek the vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 6-0. Letter G is our certified salary schedule. In your packet, you saw that Mrs. Kingsley had suggested that maybe we look at increasing our salary schedule from 33,400 to 34,000, which is a $600 increase across the board. As of right now, the governor hasn't signed the budget that's in front of him. So my opinion of that, only mine, is I would like to wait, because we're really not in any hurry for salary yet, till we know for sure that the budget that is in front of the governor has been signed. We
Make adjustments.
make adjustments. That's just my thought.
Still,
Probably a good idea.
where we're at is, we put out a certain amount and then the state's covering
The difference.
difference. So if we decide, I wouldn't want to move on that yet.
I think
We need to
make
see what
sure
his,
that-
we need to see what the state numbers are.
I'm almost certain he's gonna sign it as presented. Feel very confident he's gonna sign it like it is. But till that signature's on there.
Yeah.
So
Till it's in
can we
writing.
vote on this next?
Till it's in writing.
Yeah, we can do it.
I can move it
Not,
back.
not a problem. So my suggestion is to table that one issue.
I agree.
So we'll,
If there's any objections.
we'll table. Now, classified salary, that's another subject. In your package, you saw that classified, they do need to move up. That's a minimum wage issue that's already been voted on. So I'm good with making a decision on that, and whatever our decision might be, but I'm good with talking about that one. Saw your newest increase in there, like $10,300 or something, after all the changes.
Across the board, right?
For that,
And
to go to
adjust the
15.
And it tries to keep the rate. about the same.
Is there anything more did I say that right?
I think you said it all right. It was a quarter increase across the board after adjusting to the $15. We get that adjusted. We don't have to go to 15, we go to 13.75, but this is people's lives and it's their whole year that's divided out, and you give them the same pay each month. Just seems reasonable to me to go ahead and go to the 15.
So is it January that it moves to 15?
Yes.
Mhm.
I think
So it's only half a year difference.
right.
Yeah.
And it's not an enormous amount of money, but I think we could make this better.
You said it's 10,000.
No, yeah. No, to them, it's huge.
I don't mean that, I meant.
Yeah,
for-
$10,285 is we're looking at to give that quarter raise. And then there's one person in there
Yes,
that
no,
is on salary, so adjusting that appropriately as well, so that it stays at the same rate that the other
So
adjustments.
it's everybody's.
So
I'll make a
everybody
motion
gets
to
the same.
accept the proposed classified salary document.
Motion made by Mr. Shear to accept the proposed classified salary schedule, second by Mrs. Wells. Further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 6-0.
Something needs to be done.
Letter I is one we added to our agenda, which is the approval of the wolf, what we call the wolf addendum. How we tried to make it somewhat fair for our teachers.
Could you hold that up over there so I can possibly see?
Starting wage of 34,000 in our schedule to 40. They're gaining $6,000 right off the bat. And so we were trying to help our folks that have been here a number of years that weren't going to increase that amount, to give them a little bit of something. It wasn't a whole lot, but it was. I think this year that's $53,000 or something we're spending this year. Next year, I think it's 58.
58 next year.
Yeah, something. So I think that's been a good thing think that makes it a little more
I think that,
equitable.
I mean, makes them feel valued for their time.
We had a lot of nice conversation this month because they actually saw it.
And at the
We talked
moment,
about a
Oh,
year
'cause, yeah,
ago,
they never
actually
got it.
yeah, they don't get it till now.
It's a June 13th check, so it's up,
So
feels good.
so
No,
the way we do that, James, is we pay our teachers and staff off the salary schedule. So as the year goes, they get paid off that $33,400. Okay, and that's what they get paid. In June, they get a 13th check. And that's the difference between 33,400 and 40,000. They get that one-time payment check for that amount.
and that's because the state's
Yeah,
covering the
so-
What it
difference.
feels
Yeah.
like.
Can't call it a bonus.
And the reason that we do
But that's
that
what it's
is, if
That's
the
not what this
state,
addendum.
No.
no,
That's
no,
the
this is
baseline
for the
grant.
other employees.
Right, no, I mean,
Okay.
yes,
The
that's
baseline
not,
grant.
that's a different grant. I'm just saying that's how that 13th check works. Sorry.
So then it works the same for the addendum.
Addendum
They
does
get
the same
that as
thing.
a 14 check. I
But
mean,
the
it's
reason we're
13
not
check is
changing
the-
salary schedules is so if the state does away with this program, then we're not hit with the 40,000. You know. That
Addendum
It
we
can
do
go every
every,
year.
we do this every year. It can come or it can go.
Right.
Just like with that grant. If that grant were to go, then here we are sitting with our salary schedule and the addendum would go.
Yeah, it'd be costing us way more than $50,000.
Yeah.
But that addendum doesn't include.
No, that's what I
the
mean.
grant.
Is it all?
Right,
I'm just
it
saying,
does also.
What?
if it would go back.
The
You know
baseline
what I
grant.
mean? Like, yeah, like if we don't, if it were, the state were to say, we're not doing this anymore, and we had to go back.
Pay would be the same, they just wouldn't get that extra check.
Yeah, well, that's why we've done it.
That's what we did to them.
I know,
But
but there's
man,
gonna
what a
be a
heart.
lot of teacher, like,
Yeah.
across the state.
It'd be
I
the
don't know how
whole-
they
it'd be the whole state.
They've-
It'd be
they've
pretty
already-
disheartening.
They sold it.
At this
Yeah.
point,
Everyone
everybody
bought
kind of gotten used to it.
Can't
I'm
take
not
it
quite sure how you can go back.
I don't either.
So I think we're gonna come. We need a motion to approve our addendum for this year, for next year, sorry.
Motion.
25, 26. Motion, Mr. Birdsong, second, Mr. Thompson. Any further discussion? Excuse me. Seeing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 6-0. Letter J, the big one. In your packet is the proposed 25-26 budget. I think if I remember right, the ending number at that is around $40,000.
49,147.
Close to 50. Good positive at the moment. That's with that addendum in there. That you just approved. That's with all the new staff that we so far have hired. That's with the additional spots that we still have to hire. That's all still.
And that's with the lower ADA or our student.
That's
Correct,
right.
with the
That's right.
SAT.
So,
It is still with the 6780, not to the 71.
which is a few dollars.
It also doesn't have, we haven't gotten all of our funding yet, or our allocation yet from Title I, so we're still waiting for a little bit, I don't know, maybe $12,000. And then I'm currently working on a grant for preschool to potentially give, so right now we have set aside money from Title I to pay for our preschool. But if we can get this done, and they will, if we get it, if we're awarded this, then this could maybe take the, cover that cost of our preschool teachers, moving that money back into title, since we're not getting as much as we've got. So those are some things that are still on the horizon, potentially to work out. So there's a little, most of our titles in there, but not all of it, because we just don't have it yet. 6% anticipated increase in assessed valuation instead of 12. And everything just updated as closely as we can to what we got this year to really guess what we get next year. Of course, that small schools grant is in there as well, which helps us quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I put 260 in there.
Yeah.
We received about
280
280.
would it be the same?
I don't know. So I was a little conservative. Let's come down a little bit and not expect the same amount, because
Okay. How about you? No, I'm sorry.
I made an assumption. Yeah, I took it down a little bit just to be careful.
It's all right.
just spent a lot of time, spent a lot of time looking at these numbers, talking to people, looking at what the other Frisco League superintendents are doing, talking to people that I trust heavily, trying to get the best estimates that we possibly can get. I think it's as accurate as it can be.
Well, and these numbers, I mean, it's a little tighter than what we have been in the past, but that's because we're getting back to the.
All that
Yeah.
play money.
No, there is a small school, which gives us $250,000.
Oh,
Would have been in there.
that's really.
Well, and plus if our,
Would be
if our
way
student
off.
numbers are higher, our monies per student is higher. then
Sure.
I feel like it's going to go up. I feel like he'll probably settle around 7,000, but I don't feel like we can just say it until he
Oh,
does
no.
it. But I think
Not-
that's
not
probably
till we know
likely,
for sure.
which is good to hold off on maybe what
That's
we're
okay.
going to
I like being
start staff.
conservative and thinking we're only 42 students.
Yes,
You know, when actually.
If you're gonna be
It'd
100,
be quite a little
if
bit
you
more.
come with 100 to the good, that's even, that's.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
Playing
Yes.
at 40, but
That's it. That's right.
If we can stay 100 to the good each year, then we're doing pretty good.
Oh, man.
To accept,
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it, or, no, Thompson's already got his hand up.
motion by Mr. Birdsong, second, Mr. Thompson, to approve the 25-26 school budget. Additional questions? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 6-0.
Darla normally gets there. It takes a
He's looking at something.
Yeah,
the train's slowly taking.
Yeah, she was looking, she was intense. Letter K, we'll move on to letter K, which is to approve our substitute pay.
Yeah, so currently it's 115 a day and then 135 when they reach on a long-term sub, once they reach day 11, and thereafter if they don't miss a day. Just to meet that $15 an hour, if we increase our 115 a day to 120, that should satisfy that. We don't need to increase the 135. I think we made that increase last year, and I think that would be sufficient at this point. So my recommendation would be to move the 115 to 120 a day.
Can I have a discussion for it?
Sure.
So I know last year we talked about substitute budget, which I probably should have brought up on the other budget.
Yeah.
And we were doing some things to maybe try to sweep that, so that number was not so high. Did
Yeah.
we accomplished that
We sure did.
this year?
We sure did.
Okay.
It's something to really celebrate. We cut that about half.
I know the year before we had.
It was unbelievable. I've never seen so many
budget for
subs in the district.
substitutes was.
There's a lot of other things happening.
Yes, there were, but it just was an interesting dynamic that it was.
There was a lot of ties there that made that not an ordinary.
Yeah, unfortunate. So it is definitely a situation I call corrected at this point, but I will tell you that I have left that larger amount in there for subs, just in case, because I wanted to err on the side
But we're
of
still gonna
caution.
be doing the same process.
Absolutely. That's not
how-
changing. The principals have been a huge piece of that being.
Because I know we talked about it pretty extensively last year on that issue itself
Yes,
and the methods of how you're going to move forward with that.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that it worked
yeah,
positive.
it was successful.
I'll make a motion to move the substitute pay from 115 to 120
I'll
and
second
leave the
that.
135 in.
Motion made, Mr. Birdsong, to increase our substitute pay from 115 to 120 per day, leave our certified to 135, long-term 135. Seconded by Mr. Shear. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor? Please raise your hand. Good. Motion carried, 6-0. April, hey, it's your turn. You don't have to say anything.
This is when you give your speech.
Okay, did you work on a speech?
No,
Do you have a speech ready?
We got to talk
Oh, okay. Because if you have a speech, we're ready. But we need to approve Ms. King.
Guys, that's gonna be confusing, like Kingsley and King.
Yeah, we did it. Our new board secretary,
Before, I want,
we can. Yes, 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 we sure.
before we talk about Ms. April, positions that we're going to put her in just a second. And I should have talked about this in one of these. But there's a couple things I'd like to change on our extra duty. Board secretary is one of them. I want to change that percentage before we put anybody in there. This is me up alone. I want to change that from a 6% to an 8% rate. It's about $700-800 difference. Not a lot, but to the person doing the job, I think it's pretty substantial because as she's about to find out, there's a lot.
Yeah.
So it'll go from roughly $2,000 to about $2,800. While we're doing that, and this is kind of the odd spot, I'm just throwing it out here right now of everything, because as Tony says, we kind of just take care of it. We're just talking about beta. We're having a hard time with that. Beta is a huge responsibility. With that one, I would like to change that from a 4% to a 6% rate.
So,
I mean, we've got two people who aren't even in beta that are in with beta right now. And
We don't have a head of a beta.
it's not a lot, but hopefully that can help whoever's in there. Because there's a lot of time, I mean, there's a ton of fundraisers, not that it's not, but beta's a big position.
Huge.
And,
Well,
you
maybe if
know,
we can
and
increase it, maybe that entice
Yeah.
someone.
so, and I know we have a person for that. But I would like to see us do that as well. And it's not a lot, but it's a little bit, and I think it'll be noticed.
Yeah.
So that's something I'd like to throw out for either discussion or to.
You'll have to, because you're changing dollars.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that motion. Those are both.
So the motion is to change board secretary percentage from 6 to 8. Change beta sponsor from
4 to 6.
4 to 6.
Yes,
Is that correct?
that's correct.
Okay. Whatever those numbers are, that's the percentages.
And just so you know, I just didn't pick those. Well, I kind of did for the board secretary, but I was looking at the numbers. But for beta, you know, that's actually, I mean, that's a big position.
There's a
And
lot
when we're
that
looking
goes
at
on
coaching
there.
stipends and their pay, beta was quite a bit lower
I'm
than
glad you
that.
brought that up. I was-
And, you know, so I thought that would be a more adequate pay for that position, for what's entailed with it. That was my thought.
There's a motion. Who's second?
I
Oh,
seconded it.
sorry. Thank you, Mr. Shear, to make those changes. Any further discussion? We'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries. 6-0.
Now, Adam, what happened to the assistant golf coach?
Let me tell you.
Let me tell you how this works.
Hey, let me tell you how it works if you're the coach. You want to know?
It's even
They put
worse.
the zeros in the front of the paycheck, not on the back.
It's even worse.
Board
6 to 8.
secretary, 6 to 8, beta, 4 to 6.
Yes,
Not 46, 426.
6.
yes.
Got it. Okay.
Now we need to
Excellent thought
appoint
process on that, Adam, though. I think
appoint a board secretary.
it's important.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Thompson, to appoint
Yeah.
April King as our board secretary.
Pretty sweet, huh?
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second, Mr. Shear. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. 6-0.
So
Now you can't.
She
get
got
out.
hired.
Welcome aboard.
No, we raised the position and then she got hired.
Oh, okay.
Sweet
I
surprise.
was gonna ask that.
Made it even better for him.
The signature part.
Yeah.
We'll need to make a
But you
motion.
have to vote.
We have to make a motion to add her to. Make last minutes to have that. We need a motion to add April
I make a
King
motion to add April
King.
to the,
Signature
to our
card.
bank signature card.
Second.
Motion, Mrs. Wells, second, Mr. Thompson. That way, they'll want to see the minutes. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Thanks. I forgot that.
That's what she's here for, then.
No, he's here for a whole
I saw that.
lot more than that.
That's a new.
Okay. If I see
We have
17.
it correctly, it'd be July 17th.
Oh, hey, it's not on my anniversary.
Hey, maybe you'll be here, huh?
What is it?
Next board meeting,
On when?
17.
I don't know if I can make it. that
You gonna
day,
be on
because
vacation?
that day I'm gonna have to get my walker out because I get really old.
You turned 50.
Hey, by that time, I'll be 51 and I still won't need my walker.
Adam's had rough life.
Although there's still a month to go at my might.
Miss Kingsley has a little pickup there for that day.
The 17th.
Yeah.
So
Is it
24th.
possible to go to the 24th? Is that gonna be too late?
I'm sorry.
All right, I'll say,
I like the
is it
24th.
possible to go to the 24th instead of 17th? That okay?
That would be preferable.
That'd be great with me.
So,
Oh, I'm sorry.
can't be
You
here.
want to go that day?
Second
Can
meeting,
you
you already
be here that week at all?
Hey.
Can you be here that week at all?
We could only do,
We can
we can book in August. They only review it anyway, so we can still submit it even.
Well, we can't go any
Separate
really
out
any
what your
sooner than
changes are
that.
gonna be.
I think we can.
They don't approve it. they
We have an
approve it.
issue with anything around the 15th where we don't even with her job, and it really makes it.
And we can make the 17th work if that works for everybody. Just know that we may be adding some bills at the last minute on that Monday, Tuesday.
I don't think that's a problem. He's gonna look at it. If there's anything wrong.
So I just know some of them don't come in until the
With it,
1st.
so
It is.
Really?
Not because-
Interesting. So we're only 5 days apart. Mine's 12.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's me.
I can do either one.
Like I said, because of the week, I didn't make any sense. I was gonna wait to see what everybody could do, because I know we had a lot of trouble. So, it'll be okay. I'll adjust my plans. And nothing is set in stone. I'll make it work.
So what are we
We'll,
doing?
we'll leave it for the 17th
Okay,
July.
so I'm gonna expect some cake and some ice
Happy
cream
birthday.
Buddy, I'm gonna fix you up.
Oh,
and some treats.
Adam's birthday, so
And then when it's at 6:30, you guys are gonna send me a message and you're gonna say, Adam, are you coming?
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm gonna say, no.
No. I'll send you a fake picture of a steak dinner. Oh, you missed out.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry
I got
about
some.
that.
I got
I'm
some-
on my way.
Oh, probably.
Hey, I got some Wagyu ribeyes all the way out for that 17.
need a motion to go into executive.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Birdsong, second, Mr. Thompson, we'll do roll call.
Yes.
Yes, 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 yes,
Yes.
Yeah.
yes, yes. All of us, say yes.
I didn't get the motion. Second.
Motion by me.
Mr. Birdsong, second, Mr. Thompson.
Sorry. We got in a hurry.
Okay, we'll take a 5-minute break, come back. Little
Oh,
five,
he's running.
little five, and we will have executive.
Tracy, do you know if Lonnie has anybody